that have been made and also explain what necessitated those changes. Which acts have been repealed, why, which are the modifications, and what are some of the safeguards that have been built in. I think the first point that we need to understand that the entire gamut of land laws which was existing in Jammu and Kashmir was probably a product of its time, maybe appropriate to the time when it was introduced, but it was essentially meant to serve an old agrarian rural economy. Quite obviously, many of these laws had become outdated, obsolete, and as new laws kept getting added, the system of land laws, when looked at as a whole, suffered from not only redundancy and obsoleteness, but also ambiguities and contradictions. And in many cases, the laws that were in existence were clearly regressive and anti-people. Now, how was this so? Let me give you a few examples. The Big Landed Estates Abolition Act fixed a ceiling of 182 canals, but the act was superseded by the Agrarian Reforms Act of 1976, which refined it, made a provision of 100 standard canals, yet both the BLEA and the Agrarian Reforms Act 1976 continued to coexist. The Agrarian Reforms Act of 1976 is, as we speak, 44 years old. We are in 2020 now. Yet, this act prohibited the selling of any land that was available to the tiller. So, as a result, even after a generation had passed, and even after 44 years, this land could not be sold or transacted. What was the consequence? You had a large number of so-called Benami transactions and restrictions for the next generation to transact this land, which was otherwise legitimately made available to the tiller. Another example, the Agrarian Reforms Act of 1976 had ended tenancy, but the Tenancy Stay on Ejectment Proceedings Law 1966 still continues to be in force. There are still more interesting examples. We had a very good law, the Prohibition of Conversion of Land and Alienation of Orchards Act 1975. Now, quite correctly, this law prohibited the alienation of orchard lands, which was a laudable objective. But surprisingly, it also restricted the creation of new orchards, and to create a new orchard, the permission of the government was required. Similarly, the Right of Prior Purchase Act placed severe constraints and restrictions on an owner's right to dispose of his own property, so much so that neighbors and others had a so-called right of first refusal, both in urban and rural properties, restricting the rights of an owner to dispose of his own properties. I can go on and on and on about some of the ambiguities, contradictions, difficulties in the old laws. I mean, just to give one or two more examples. There were different definitions of family across acts and laws. Provisions for conversion and alienation of laws were different across laws. So, at the end of all this, we had a gamut of land laws which was sometimes inconsistent, sometimes ambiguous, sometimes contradictory, and at other times clearly opposed to the interests of the public at large. So there was a need to, if I may say so,